radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. How you doing? How you doing? Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? Today's Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. 111 days into the new year. Only 254 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of nowhere. A total undisclosed location. But it's beautiful. Yes, it is. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planets. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What's cracking, everybody? How you doing? All right. I got to get all my stuff situated. All right. Oh, man. I'm ready. What a great week we've got going on, man. Last night, John Greenwald, amazing show. Tonight, Erin Montgomery is here for the first time. Nothing better, right? There's nothing better than a first-time guest. First-time callers, first-time guests. Love it when that happens. And now, check. Yeah, okay. That's coming in hot. I'm coming in hot. I don't feel hot, but I'm coming in hot. All right. Yeah, Erin Montgomery is here tonight. And Multidimensional Messenger. Her family for generations. Contact. And we've got a lot to discuss tonight with Erin. Now, so we're probably, I do this with all first-time guests. We've got to introduce them to the audience for the first time, get so many different things out of the way. And then there's always so many different facets. It's faceted. It's so many facets that we have to squeeze in for that first show. And we're going to do that tonight with Erin. And I look forward to having her back on the show where we can just go with one subject and do the deep dive. But tonight, Erin is with us for the first time. Tomorrow night, Dr. Stephen Greer is here. And Thursday is another Fader night with open lines, except very special guest Richard Dolan will be here doing a drive-by and to say hello to everybody. It's going to be a brief drive-by, but Richard Dolan is going to join us on Thursday. And then, of course, open lines all night long. All right? Okie dokie. Let's get this show cracking. Let's get a bunch of things out of the way. One, Billy Carson wants you to go and visit forbiddenknowledge.tv. Go and subscribe. Dude just gave away a car. I'm watching the video of that. Flew in the winner, picked the winner up in a Rolls Royce at the airport, and took the winner to the new car, and they got to drive it home. And that car was sweet. Go to forbiddenknowledge.tv. Right now, it's their 1-year anniversary and 30 days free. 30 days free. So go subscribe, get signed up over at Forbidden Knowledge and check out all of Billy's stuff. Links for it are over at jimmychurchradio.com, but it's simple enough, forbiddenknowledge.tv. All right. Now, crystal skulls, I've got mine. You need yours. I want you to visit Carolyn Ford at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Promo code is Jimmy. 10% off of your order. All right, so go and pick out one of her amazing skulls. She has got this skull. Oh, I want it so bad. She just posted this picture. One of the Fadernauts, you can go and grab this, but it's white with these blue flecks in it. Just an absolutely gorgeous skull. Not cheap. Not expensive either. I mean, especially for what it is. But man, do I feel like that thing is in my future. You need to go to EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com and use the promo code Jimmy. All right. Is that it? No, that's not it, but that's gorgeous. That is gorgeous. I saw this too as well. I've got a baby Einstein right over here, and baby Einsteins are cool because they're of the carved exactly like Einstein. And Einstein, the back of the skull is short, so all of the baby Einsteins come with their little pillows. Come with a little pillow to sit the skull on. I've got mine right over there sitting on its pillow. It's quite a few feet away. Otherwise, I'd just grab it and show it to you. But it's really cool. I saw that. That is a really nice baby Einstein. That's it right there. Blue halo. Goodness gracious. That is, man, I want that. That crystal skull I want. Thank you for posting that, Kaz. You're quick. Let's see. Donnie says, I'm getting a skull. But I'm waiting for one to call my name. Yeah, go visit her site. You're going to get a few calls. But that one right there, blue halo. Oh, man. That's about as beautiful and as perfect as a crystal skull can get right there. Okay, EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. All right, and then there's UFO MegaCon coming up June 6th through the 12th in Laughlin, Nevada. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be hosting. I'm going to host a couple of panels. Going to go out and host a Skywatch. Going to hang out all week. 7-day conference in person, real people in Laughlin, Nevada at the Aquarius Hotel and Casino. Get over to jimmychurchradio.com and click on that banner and go and get your tickets, fade or not. It's coming up. It's coming up. We're already, we're at 420. Oh, happy 420 day, everybody. Yeah, I can smell you guys from here. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Follow me on Twitter right there. And hashtag F2B is the sandbox. You can come and hang out with all the other Fadernauts. We have both chat rooms open. Looking right over there at Spreaker. Spreaker's on fire. I am sure. Let's see. Watch. So let's bounce over to YouTube. I love good skull. That is a trippy statement. Art lessons. Okay. Yeah, but see, now I'm there and I can't get out of YouTube. I get stuck over there and I've got to get out. I got to get out. Let's get to the breaking news. You know what happened today. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been convicted on all charges by a jury in the Hennepin County Court. The 12 jurors found him guilty of second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter in George Floyd's death in May of 2020. The maximum sentence for second-degree unintentional murder is imprisonment of not more than 40 years. Wow. The maximum sentence for third-degree murder is imprisonment of not more than 25 years. The maximum sentence for second-degree manslaughter is 10 years and or $20,000. He got convicted on all three. They're going to run those concurrent. He's going to go and probably serve 40 years in prison. The prosecution moved to have Derek Chauvin's bail revoked. Judge Peter Cahill granted the motion. Cahill also said 8 weeks from now, we will have sentencing. That was a quote from the judge. And Chauvin was handcuffed in the courtroom, dramatic, and taken into custody by the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office. And he was transported. I think he's in the local prison there. I don't think he's in the county jail. I think they moved him over to prison, which is about 25 miles away. Sentencing will be in 8 weeks. Dramatic, crazy, pressure relief. There you go. All right. Well, sad news today. Jim Steinman, big fan of Jim. Jim Steinman, best known for writing and producing hits for Meatloaf, died yesterday in Connecticut. Steinman wrote many of the hits from Meatloaf's best-selling album, Bat Out of Hell. He also wrote and produced I'd Do Anything for Love, But I Won't Do That. He also was the mind behind Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart. Bet you didn't know that. Air Supply's Making Love Out of Nothing at All, and Barry Manilow's Read 'Em and Weep. He was 73 years old. If you ever watch the Meatloaf movie, that Jim Steinman stuff was just priceless. Absolutely priceless. All right, well, it's 420. I got some 420 news for you. Jaleel White. That's right, Jaleel. Known for playing Steve Urkel on Family Matters, is partnering with 710 Labs on his new line of cannabis. It's Purple. It launched in California today, April 20th, or surprise, 420, and includes variants of the strain called, wait for it, Purple Urkel. Happy 420, everybody. Let's get the show cracking. Our dead guy's birthday today. Oh, I just jumped ahead. Happy birthday to George Takei. George Takei today is 84 years old. Jessica Lange today is 72. American Horror Story. She was great. King Kong. Remember that? Carmen Electra today, 49 years old. Frontman, old buddy of mine, old friend, Cal Swan, today is 58 years old, of course, the lead singer for Lion. That first album, Dangerous Attraction, that first album of theirs, one of the great rock albums in history. Also sang for Bad Moon Rising. And Doug Aldrich, happy birthday, Cal, 58 years old. Dream Theater stickman Mike Portnoy today is 54. Our dead guy's birthday today is Luther Vandross. 1951 to 2005, died at the age of 54. Luther was an in-demand background vocalist for several different artists, including Todd Rundgren, Judy Collins, Chaka Khan, Bette Midler, Diana Ross, David Bowie, Ben E. King, and Donna Summer. As a solo artist, he released his debut solo album, Never Too Much, in 1981. Hit songs include Never Too Much, Here and Now, Any Love, Power of Love, Love Power, I Can Make It Better, and For You to Love. During his career, Luther sold over 35 million records worldwide and received eight Grammy Awards. Luther died of a heart attack on July 1st, 2005 at JFK Medical Center in Edison, New Jersey at the age of 54. Happy birthday, Luther. But Dad, it's Luther. On this day in history, OTD, 1999. Dylan Klebold, 18, and Eric Harris, 17, killed 13 people in a shooting spree at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado, just south of Denver. Fader fact. All right, here you go. Fader fact. In the 1930s, okay, write this down, 420. Write this down. In the 1930s, metallic paints were invented for cars. They were made with fish scales, and it would take 40,000 herring to make just 2 pounds of paint. Do I need to repeat that? Just absorb how expensive was that paint for a car? Holy mackerel. Later they added aluminum chips and flakes and things. That's how they did it. But originally, herring fish scales. Crazy. Tonight, very special guest for the first time on Fade to Black. Erin Montgomery joins us, and a multi-dimensional messenger. We've got a lot to talk about tonight with Erin. Tomorrow night, Dr. Stephen Greer is back with us. And Thursday, it's another Fader night, but not just another Fader night with open lines, because Richard Dolan is going to join us for a segment or two, and that'll be Thursday night, followed by open lines. Now, it's time for me to hit this River Moon coffee. I love meatloaf. Man, I love meatloaf too, mashed potatoes, but meatloaf, bat out of hell. I don't think it gets better. I really don't. I don't. Man, that was just, man, how many records did that sell? rivermoonwellness.com. I like my coffee, Doc. Yeah, I love the promo code F2B Blend, 15% off of your order today. I love the meatloaf gifts. Yeah, it's man, I love meatloaf. What was his singer's name? Carla DeVito? Is that right? I'm just going off of memory. Don't quote me. I could have that completely wrong. But she was great. Man, those are great videos. Great songs. All right. $420. Today is $420. Yeah. Got that bag of weed over there. I should have brought it over for the show. Wasn't even thinking. See, there you go. But it's $420. I don't know how we got to $420, but we did, and $420 is what it is today. $420. Today's $420. And I posted out on social media. I said, hey, it's $420. I'm going to share a great pot story from my youth. Youths. And it's a funny story. Now, it wasn't funny at the time, of course. It was pretty dramatic. But when I said that I was going to post the show today, I tagged a few friends, and one that I tagged is part of the story. His name's Bill White, and I hope Bill is listening tonight, as would be everybody else that I tagged from Panama, from the Canal Zone. And it's funny, when I started this show, people were, man, Jimmy didn't live in Panama. He didn't live. How could he live in Panama? Well, I did. And so I tagged a bunch of friends of mine from the Canal Zone down there. And they're going to appreciate this story. And it kind of goes like this. I was 15. I'm down in Panama. And it was my girlfriend Kim's birthday. I was a sophomore. Kim was a junior. She was older than me. That's right. And it was her birthday. And the plan was for me and my friends to all go to downtown Panama City and get tattoos. And Bill White, who I just mentioned, Rocky Gibson, and Eric Powell, was those three. And, no, it was those three. I was thinking Craig Talteval might have been with us, but we ended up by Craig's house. So anyway, all right. So Bill White, Rocky Gibson, Eric Powell, and myself. And then after we get our tattoos, the plan was to head up to Kim's house for her birthday party, sporting our new Panama ink. And this is the tattoo that I got that night of this story, that Panama tattoo. Okay, so we go downtown Panama City, which is across the street, 4th of July Avenue, the Canal Zone, and you venture into Panama City, and it's crazy down there. But anyway, so we go and we get tattooed. At least I believe Rocky and I got tattoos. Bill and Eric chickened out. All right. Now, Bill, if you're listening right now, and you probably are, you can text me. But I don't think Bill got tattooed. Eric Powell turned white. He chickened out. There was a little blood. He didn't do it. But anyway. So that's not even this. That's the setup to the story. So we get our tattoos, and we head back to the Canal Zone, and we're heading over to Kim's parents' house, which was up on Ancon Hill. In the middle of the Canal Zone, there's this giant hill. It's called Ancon Hill. Sticks out of nowhere. Everything else is flat, but there's Ancon Hill. And houses all over it. There's a hospital there, and there's defense stuff, but it's mainly housing all around the hill. And on the backside of the hill, so we cross from Panama City into the Canal Zone. We got to go around to the other side of Ancon Hill to head up to Kim's house. So this is what happened. And it's a long story. I'm going to get all of this in. On the backside of Ancon Hill is a path, and the path is paved, right? Asphalt. And it goes up through the jungle, right? And then at the top of the hill, there's a street at the top of this path through the jungle, and then it continues. Then there's stairs on the other side of the street. It's no longer a path. And so you go up the stairs, and then they end. And at the next street, the streets, are switchbacks. So anyway, we go through the stairs, and then we cross the street, and instead of walking on the sidewalk and going up the streets like this, we decide to cut through the jungle, and there's a path, and we're going to go up. And Kim's house, we can see, and we can hear the party, and it's up there a ways, but this path thing through the jungle will get us right straight to Kim's house instead of going blocks in each direction and finally getting there. So we're walking through the jungle, and then we get about halfway through, and this is where it gets really bizarre quickly. We stop to smoke some weed. And so we stop on this path, and somebody's firing up a joint. We roll a joint, and I had a bag of weed, about this big. And I said, hey, I'm going to go stash this up here under a rock or whatever, and then we'll go up to the party. Okay, cool. So I break from the three guys, and I go up the path, not just a couple of yards, and I bend over to put this, it's a bag of weed about this big, just hide it somewhere. And as I lean over to do this flashlight in the middle of the jungle clicks onto my face. Hey! Police. I was like, what? And I look up, and there's a cop, and he's back in the jungle. What? And I yell to my friends, it's the cops. And we all take off running. We head the opposite direction. Kim's house is up there. We head in the opposite direction. We are being chased by what turned out to be pretty overweight cop. And you've got 4 15-year-old high school kids, young men that can all run, and we are hauling, and we're heading down. We get out of the jungle, cross the street. Now we're going down the stairs, and I turn around and look, and the cop is way back there. I can see his flashlight, but he's coming after us. And I thought, man, over weed? Anyway, so we're running. And get down to the bottom of the hill. Craig Talteval, who I thought was there, his house is over here. Alan Shaw's house, another friend of ours, who was not there, his house is there. We know their parents. We get in between their two houses, and then we scatter. I run over and I hide underneath a picnic table or behind a tree where a picnic table is. Eric Powell runs towards the train station, and two other, we're behind trees. And we're looking to wait to see for this cop to come out. And as we're waiting, now cop cars pull up. We're lit. Oh, man. So they handcuff us. And I'm like, this is over weed? You know, what's going on? And they put us in these cars. They take us down. Eric got caught in the train station. They pull Eric out. Now they throw him in the car with me. And Eric is just yelling at the cop all the way down there. This is what you do. So they take us to the police station. The weed that I had up on the hill is stuffed in my underwear, in that spot. I can't get I'm like stuck. I'm in this cop car. I'm handcuffed. They take us into the police station. They sit us down, and they take us in one after another, and they're interviewing us. And we all tell them the same story. We were going up to Kim's house for a birthday party. We went down to get tattoos. Jimmy and Rocky got tattoos. Bill and Eric chickened out. And we tell the story. They all weren't the same, but they were close enough. Then the cops bring us all in together. Now, they've called all of our parents, right? That's the next thing. And I'm waiting for my dad to show up, who didn't. And they take us all in the room. And the cop, this detective, and I'm like, what is going on with this? Right? They didn't ask about weed. They didn't ask about anything. They didn't search us. They didn't do anything. They just handcuffed us and took us down to the police station. And now, the detective says, obviously, somebody up there had a gun. Had a what? You guys were up there. You were popping off shots in the jungle. Just tell us who's got the gun. Where'd you put the gun? I said, dude, we're up there smoking weed. No, you weren't. You were shooting a gun. We had reports of gunshots. You guys were in the jungle. Our officer was up there in the jungle. He heard the gunshots. He found you guys. You guys have a gun. No, we don't. And so then they pat us down. I've got the weed. Pat us down. Nobody's got a gun. They let us go. We walk out of the police station, onto the sidewalk, down. Now we got to get over to Kim's birthday party, which we're like 2 or 3 hours late for, by the way. We're crossing the street. And I said, hey, guys, we're late for the party. But I still got the weed. We're like, what? I do, man. We were in the police. Yes, but I still got it. Come on, let's go. And that's my story. We crossed the street, went back to the same path, up the same thing on the way to Kim's house, through the jungle, right there, stopped again, smoked a second time, went up to the party, and got yelled at for being late. But I said, hey, I got this tattoo. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. That's a true story. Happy 420, everybody. Happy 420. It's going to be a great night on the show tonight. Erin Montgomery joins us for the first time. Tomorrow night, right here on Fade to Black, Dr. Stephen Greer. Thursday night, Fader night, open lines with a little visit, a little drive-by from one Richard Bleepin Dolan. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back with our guest, Erin Montgomery. Stay right there.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRAradio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Erin Montgomery is here. And I just wanted to say, happy 420, everybody. Happy 420. Erin, what do you think? I mean, gee, that's a bag of weed right there. That's a bag of weed. Oh, man. Heavy. I don't know how much it is. Happy 420. Erin Montgomery joins us for the first time on Fade to Black. Tonight we're going to talk about her life of contact and what it means for the future of the planet. And Erin is at least a third-generation UFO contactee in a family with 4 generations of contact. She began experiencing strange phenomena as early as 4 years old. We're going to talk about all of this tonight. She's been able to retrieve some of those memories through hypnotic regression to help relieve some of the trauma that was created by those early encounters with alien beings. Recently, having moved from Roswell, that's right, where she lived for 20 years, she has returned to her home in Montrose, Colorado. During the day, she works as a clinical therapist. We're going to talk about that too as well. In the evenings, she can be found working with others on a spiritual level, writing new material, or working to engage more direct contact with beings not of this world. She has a great website. You can go and visit it. The links are over at jimmychurchradio.com, erinmontgomery.net. And I've also posted up a link to her books page. She's got a couple of books published, and that is right there at jimmychurchradio.com too. And I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Erin Montgomery. Erin, good evening. How are you?
Hi, I'm glad to be here. Very good today.
So we meet again.
Yes.
So we meet
time.
So we meet again. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But the first thing we've got to get out of the way, Erin, is you get the first time guest disclaimer. And I know you've been looking forward to this, but here we go. Erin, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends, and where that conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, but we're going to end as friends. There you go. Right?
All right.
Tension over.
Sounds good.
Tension relieved. Tension relieved. So much to talk about tonight. And I know that we're going to have to break this down in a few different sections for the show. But, and of course, I'm officially inviting you back onto the show where we can pick any one of these subjects and do a real deep dive into it. With you, there is so much to discuss. And then, of course, we have everything that's happening in the world today when it comes to UFOs and ET contact. So we've got a lot to do tonight. And I want to get started with the obvious question, which is what was growing up like in a multi-generational ET contact family? I want to know, who was the craziest relative? Let's start there.
The craziest relative. That... I don't know. There may be contentions for myself at this point to be the craziest one, because I'm the one that talks about stuff that happens in the family. The rest of us have been very quiet and don't talk about it. But, you know, it was really my granny, my father's mother, who told me what was going on in the family. And there's so many different people who have had experiences, and I've done my best to tease it out from each one that I have been able to get a hold of. And unfortunately, so many have passed on that there's information that has disappeared.
When we talk about 3 generations and maybe even 4, what kind of time span are we talking about here? When did this contact with the family start?
Well, that's another good question. I'm not exactly sure where it started, but the earliest contact I know of is my grandfather, my father's father. He had a very interesting experience when he was courting my grandmother. So this would have been 1930s in a very small town in Texas called La Mesa. And definitely before streetlights or anything. And he was walking home from her house back to his, and he was really sick. He was really sick. He had an upper respiratory illness like bronchitis, tonsillitis, something like that going on. And as he's walking home, there's this bright light that shines down from above onto his head. And he pretty much freaked out and ran the rest of the way home. The light followed with him the whole time. He ran in the house, jumped in the bed, and the light is streaming through the window onto him. And as far as I know, you know, who knows what happened that night? I don't know. But when he woke up in the morning, he was completely healed. He was no longer ill. And so, yeah, the lights don't just shine down in the 1930s on small rural towns in Texas. So there is definitely ideas that it was UFOs. And my granny believed that it was a UFO that he had seen.
So that's the 1930s. And do you feel that, and I know this is just the obvious question, but needs to be asked, do you feel that your life of contact is connected to theirs?
Absolutely, I do. I mean, if it was my grandfather, my father, and my aunt, his sister have both had experiences. Um, and then myself, my brother, I suspect he's seen things but hasn't talked about contact or anything. Several of my cousins have had these experiences. And now our children are having experiences. So yeah, I think there's like a generational going down the line, something going on.
What's Thanksgiving dinner like?
It's chaos.
Yeah, right.
but nobody talks about these things except for me. I'm the one that goes and starts like, can you tell me a little bit about that one time that you said that you were all of a sudden afraid of aliens? I talked to one of my cousins about that, and he would expand on his story, which is an interesting thing. And then the other day, it was Thanksgiving, which is funny. I was with my dad, but we were out on an ATV up in the mountains, and I was able to ask him, okay, come on, tell me more details. And I was able to get more information about my aunt who passed away about 8 years ago, and and about my granny as well. So not only my father's side, but his mother as well has had experiences. So it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, take me through that. Are these experiences contact? Is it sightings? I'm sure it's different with all of your relatives, but in a general sense, what are we talking about?
Well, with my granny, this would have been early 80s. She was walking, and this is in Carlsbad, New Mexico, so it's very hot in the summer, sometimes up to 115. And she was walking, and they thought she had had a sunstroke because she had passed out on the ground. There's a bright flash of light. She passes out, and as she's getting up on her hands and knees to get back up, she raises her head. She sees in front of her like an alien landscape, like it was Mars. And it took her, blinking and shaking her head a little bit to bring it back to the street that she was actually on. And so it makes you wonder, what the heck was that? I don't know. Was it contact? Was it a sighting? Was it a vision? It seems like a vision or something happened to her. But my cousin has had an experience on the same road also during the summertime. I don't think it was the same year, but he and I were discussing this the other day, how close in proximity and in time were these two incidents. My cousin was riding his bike home from the schoolyard, and he was supposed to be home at a particular time. And as he was riding the bike, he hit this one particular intersection, and a bright light flashed, and he was terrified. He said he just felt absolutely horrified about something, and he didn't know what. And then he woke up several blocks back from where he had came from, nose bleeding. His bike was propped up on the curb like he had purposely parked it there, and he's just waking up and getting off the ground. And he said from that moment on, he has been absolutely terrified of the small gray aliens that you see on TV and in advertising and all of that. He doesn't have any memories of what happened, but something happened, and something blew him back several blocks and kind of knocked him out. He came home, and he was about 3 hours late, and he got in serious trouble.
And that was the same year as your grandmother.
We're thinking it was very close to around 1984 or so, because he and I were about 10 at the point in time that happened.
And so that would have been Carlsbad too. What is it about Carlsbad?
I'm not so sure, but it's not all that far from Roswell.
No, it's not. No, it's Carlsbad's right there. Right. And any recent, that's the 80s. Mm-hmm. Did it continue after the 80s through today with your family?
In Carlsbad? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because in the 90s, I was pregnant and in college, and then I went to live with my granny and my aunt at the time. And my aunt was working in El Paso, so she would work for a week and then she'd be home for a week. And then she said that at one point in time, I remember her coming back to the house saying, oh my gosh, this is crazy, but she was driving past an empty field on her way to El Paso, and there was a ship that was landed, and she could see the beings underneath. And so this would have been 1995.
Wow. So Class A contact.
Yeah.
Holy crap. And did she describe the beings?
Not that I can recall. I just remember her being pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. And from what I remember, she saw it several times. Now, I don't remember if it was like on her way to El Paso, or if it was in between her hotel where she was staying and the hospital where she worked. I don't remember, but she said that she had saw it for several times.
And what about your parents?
My father has seen ships, or what appeared to be ships. He has not talked about any contact himself, but the way he described it just like a month or so ago was like a star that all of a sudden moves, and you think, okay, so it's a satellite, and then it changes directions. And he said this one like dropped down, moved to the east or west, dropped down again, and then came straight towards him. And he doesn't, has no recall of anything after that. And in my opinion, if something like that is coming straight towards you, you're going to have an experience. So.
And your mom?
My mother does not have any recall of anything happened like that. And there's nothing really in her family that suggests contact.
What does she think about the rest of you?
And I've asked her. One of the projects that I'm working on is the impact on that contact has on relationships, whether it's romantic or familial, whatever. And I asked her, so what do you think of me with all of this stuff going on? And she said, who am I to negate any of your experiences, even though I haven't had them or understand them? And so she's open and definitely doesn't want to disbelieve, and just lets it be the truth that it could be, Now
there's another interesting twist here. You're a professional, you're a clinical therapist. Tell us about that for a second, and who are you the therapist of?
I work with the general public at a community mental health center. So I'm seeing people from the ages of 5 all the way up into their 60s, 70s at this point in time, for a myriad of any reasons, whether it's depression, anxiety, trauma, substance use, all of those things. I work with couples, whoever walks in my door. Those are the people that I'm working with right now.
Very interesting. And now you just moved to Colorado, but you're a clinical therapist in Roswell. And I would assume that ET contact in Roswell. I've been to Roswell. I know what the city's about. That's really not that strange of a thing. Does everybody know about your ET contact?
I didn't want anybody really to know, but then it was a really long process of coming to terms with, okay, I really need to talk about this, and then having this voice in the back of my head, you really need to write a book. And as a professional, like writing a book about this crazy, potential, like, oh, they're going to just think I'm a lunatic, and then coming out with my story, and then still wanting to work in the profession that I work, was a real conundrum, and it was hard. And that's how I came up with the title of my book, The Dirty Little Secret, because I was afraid I was going to lose my job. That is not what happened. When the book was released, I was actually embraced for it, by my colleagues. They thought it was wonderful. Everybody bought it, and I was thinking, oh my God, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? And now they all know about me. And my boss at the time took me to the side, and he said, Erin, you're not the craziest one on staff. so that made me feel a lot better.
Yeah, that's a big load of relief, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Well, it's funny for everybody out there that has never been to Roswell, but they hear the descriptions, from you and from me and from others that have been there. It still doesn't really deal with the impact of what Roswell is. ET is everywhere. It is respected. It is the economy, and it's not a joke for the city of Roswell, right? No. And you can go to any business. I remember I go to, and you probably know, all the hotels have an ET theme, right? But yes. So I'm at a pretty nice hotel, whatever it is, as you get into town. And there's a bunch of really nice hotels there, and the Marriott or whatever it doesn't matter. But it's a nice hotel. You walk in, the walls of the lobby have these ETs coming out of the wall. And it's the coolest sculpture artwork, right? That, like, it's like ETs that are in behind like a rubber sheet and it's stretching out. It's like that, and that's the hotel lobby, and it's brilliant. But that's Roswell, right?
That's Roswell. That absolutely every street sign, every business, even the street lights have little alien eyes on them. That is absolutely the economy there.
Yeah. It obviously the McDonald's, but it's the banks, it's the car dealerships, it's the restaurants, it's every single business as you drive along has an ET theme to it, and I think it's really cool. They've all got something, and so if there's a city that you're going to come out of the closet in, right, it's going to be Roswell.
Right. Well, and I think of it kind of as a cosmic joke. I never wanted to be in Roswell. It was not my plan at all whatsoever. It just was happenstance. I was a kid. I was about 25. My husband at the time and I were expecting our second child, and we couldn't make ends meet, so we had no choice but to move and be close to his family, which happened to be in Roswell. And it took me a couple of years to actually break down and learn the streets because I did not want to be there. And it was specifically because I was having a hard time coming to terms with my history as a contactee. I didn't want to see it. It was everywhere. I avoided Main Street like the plague. And I think it's really funny that 20 years later, after I've written the book and completely come to terms with things, then I could leave. It was like oh, you're free. You can go. You've done what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and Main Street where they have the parade each year, 4th of July, the ET parade. And the museum is there, and all of the businesses are ET related, and it's blocks long. It's a very congested, busy downtown section for Roswell. Did you ever go to the parade?
I did. I did go to the parade. It took me many years. So I moved there in 2000, but it wasn't until 2012 that I finally went to the UFO festival. And I went specifically to start listening to the lectures and participating and just trying to all right, fine. I can no longer avoid this. I've got to immerse myself in what's going on here. But yeah, the town doubles in size on that weekend. That festival weekend, and most of the locals will turn tail and hide. They don't want anything to do with it. Just it's too busy, it's too crowded, and it's too hot. July in Roswell can be 110 degrees.
At night.
Yeah, it's unpleasant.
At night. I remember sitting outside a restaurant there. It was 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm sweating. It's like, man, it just doesn't stop in Roswell. Did you have an opportunity, though, to meet others from the community that were speaking at Roswell? Did you start reaching out?
I did. That first year that I went, the most impactful connection I made was with Yvonne Smith.
Right.
And I was able to sit and listen to her lecture and see what she was saying about contact, how it can be helped through hypnosis. And I just remember going up to her afterwards and starting to cry. And she, being this sweet, amazing woman that she is, just took me into a big hug and told me it's okay, I'm not alone. Helped me to join her support group, even though it's in California and I was in New Mexico. I was able to connect online. And within a few years, I was able to have my own regressions with her. But that was probably the number one connection I made.
Yeah, she owns Roswell. She owns that town. She owns that town. I've been there with her. I spent 4 days with her, and the amount of respect that Roswell gives her, it's really cool. It's really cool. She owns that town. She owns it. Her and Don Schmidt. There you go. That's
right.
And now. Before we get to the break, your contact, and we're going to come back and talk more about this, But was there continuous contact in Roswell for those 20 years?
Yeah.
And the first thing that most people are going to think, it's Roswell. Of course it's going to happen. But this contact has also been following you. Do you think that contact, it's related to your family, of course. Do you think it's also related to Roswell?
I'm not necessarily sure. It could be. I mean, my grandparents were in Texas when I know that contact happened, in the 30s, but they settled in Carlsbad, which isn't far away. Then, with my dad, his sister, their children, I was born in Phoenix, but then my parents moved us to Roswell from like 6 months old until my 4th birthday. And so I was there again, in that area, and then moved to Colorado and was there until I graduated high school. So is Roswell part of it? I don't know. Maybe so. A lot of people talk about, military history in their family, and we don't have that. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so funny because when, the discussion of the discussion of UFOs is one thing, contact, all of that. Okay, that's one conversation. You drop Roswell as the location into the mix, that's a natural assumption, isn't it? It has to be.
I think a lot of people do have that assumption, but I'm not sure. Like you said, it moves with me. I've had contact no matter where I was. I had things happening to me for the 10 months that I lived in New York. So it doesn't matter where I'm at.
Which is a whole nother conversation. You are now part of the community. You're doing some, I don't want to discuss some of the things that you are doing, but you're doing some media stuff with some companies, which is exciting. But at some point, everything about you and your personal life is going to go public. Are you ready for that?
I don't really have a lot to hide. Yeah, it's all good. I'm sure it will be an interesting ride once it does.
I don't have anything to hide. Let's go. Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, Erin Montgomery. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is going to be an amazing night. When we come back after the break, I'm very excited about this. We're going to start. We got to go back to 4 years old. Let's see how it started, and we'll work our way forward. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Erin after this short break on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer, Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Erin Montgomery is here. Tomorrow night, Dr. Stephen Greer. Thursday night, Fader night, open lines all night long with Richard Dolan doing a drive-by. All of that this week on Fade to Black. Tonight, Erin Montgomery, and, 3-4 generational overlap here with ET Contact with Your Family. It's pretty amazing. And for you, 4 years old. 4 years old. Now, let's start with that. Was this a conscious memory that you remember from 4 years old?
No, it's not. It was a little flash of memory. It's like I can hold about 30 seconds in my head of what happened when I was 4. And it came to me just last summer. Like, I was talking to a friend who had said something, and it kind of just sparked it. Like, oh my gosh, it's like almost like a flashback. All of a sudden I saw the image of myself sitting on the floor with several children around me, it's sort of in a circle. And we were in a very bright white room that appeared to be round. There was a round doorway next to us. And we were like levitating blocks, kind of passing them back and forth with levitation or gravity. I don't know how we were doing it. And I remember a small gray type alien walking by the doorway with a little boy in tow who was older than I was, maybe around 10. And I remember him pointing at me and saying something like, I'll know you later, something like that. And
that's the 30 seconds that you remember?
That's the 30 seconds I remember.
Wow, that's
It's just sitting on the floor, the boy passing, and that's it.
Wow. Okay, that's crazy town. And did you remember this throughout? Help me understand what you're saying here. Did you remember this when you were 5, 6, 7, 8?
No.
The memory.
I remembered this at 45.
At 45.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do with that? I mean, I know that Yvonne Smith and regression. Did you call Yvonne and say, hey?
No, I didn't. Just because she's so far away from me, and it's like, well, there's just a little snippet that popped up, and I think that they happen all the time. I've had little snippets pop up. The only times I reach out to Yvonne is if the snippet or whatever it is has gotten me to a point where I'm no longer sleeping. If I'm put back into a traumatized state where I'm feeling paranoid, like somebody's going to come and get me in the night. I can't turn off the light. I start missing work because I'm so exhausted. That's when I know that I need to be regressed so that I can just calm the memories down. And so yeah, I don't seek out regression for just to have the memories. That's not what I do it for. I do it to help heal, whatever damage has been done by trauma. That having been said, the second time I did a regression, it was I had a flash of memory from around 10 years old, and I was excited in the memory. I remember being really, really excited about what was about to happen, and I told Yvonne, if I'm excited, not scared, I want to know what this is. I want to go here. I want to do this. And she said, okay, let's do it. And then I found out, it wasn't all that fun. It wasn't all that fun once I got on ship.
So did you fly out to California?
You know what? No, I usually sit down with her when she came to Roswell. And now that I'm not there, I'm really sad. So I've got to get my butt back to Roswell. But I'm sure that in time I'll be able to go and see her in California for sessions
okay.
as well.
So I guess what I'm asking is you guys did do a session together, though. It wasn't here in California. It was back in Roswell.
Yeah. So we would book times during the festival at our hotel room so I could just be regressed there.
And so, okay, let's go. What happened?
In the first regression, let's see, the thing with being a contactee is really it is not linear. Things come and go, and you experience something, but you remember something else, and it gets all jumbled. Time gets jumbled in your head. In 2012, I had an experience that was very, very scary, and that is what brought up those symptoms of not being able to sleep. I couldn't turn the light off, and then by 2015, I had told Yvonne, I cannot do this anymore. I have got to heal whatever is happening. And so I brought a friend with me because I didn't understand hypnosis at the time. And, am I going to leave a zombie? I don't know. Can I drive? I wasn't sure. And she asked me, what is it in specific that you want to do? And I told her, I want to go back to the moment that trauma was set in with me and has caused all these problems, down the line. And so she was able to walk me back to the age of 7. And at 7 years old, I remember thinking, I was in bed and I remember thinking the moon must be really bright, like it was a full moon or something, and it was kind of stinging my eyes. And I turned my head away from the window, and there was a being standing right next to my bed. I had a twin-sized bed, and the face of the being was right there at my eye level. And remember, like, oh, hi, what's this surprise, like, hey, there you are. I wasn't afraid of this being. She was a gray type, like they said, but doesn't look like the images that you'll see all over Roswell. Not that flat face.
You said she. You just said she.
I did.
Okay.
I did say she. This being, I call her a female just because she exuded this nurturing feeling from her, very, very feminine feeling, not an active purposeful feeling like you would think a male would. Is very nurturing and open. And so I have associated a gender with her. Is that my humanness? Probably, but she said everything's fine. We're gonna go on a little adventure, basically is what she told me. I don't remember the exact words that came out of the regression. And it was at that point in time that I noticed there were two other beings in the room. One was at my feet and one was in the doorway. The one at my feet put his here I'm going with the male, put his hand under my foot and was able to levitate me out of the bed at that point in time. So I was lifted out of my bed and moved, out of my bedroom and into the hallway. And all four of us went up. We went up through the ceiling, through the roof. And one of the most amazing, miraculous things that I can remember from the regression is being able to actually feel my molecules pass through the molecules of the solid objects that I was moving through. Like I could feel the passing. It's hard to describe, but it was just a phenomenal sensation. And once I was outside, we continued to float up into this beam, which I assume is what I thought was the bright light or the moon coming in my window. And there was a saucer-shaped ship above the house with an aperture in the bottom that the light was coming out of. And we went up into that aperture, and I remember them like maneuvering me over to the side, like up and over. And then they proceeded to take me down a hallway. Now, the hallways were all very round and metallic looking, like aluminum or something. I like to describe it as the inside of a milk truck, what you would think that would look like. Very pristine, very round. And I was led into like an examination room, and my instincts at the age of 7 was this is the dentist office. And it looked like, there was the cabinets and things that would be in a dentist office. And then there was this chair. I was placed into the chair. I was strapped in like across my shoulders and just held into place. And I became a little bit nervous at that point. Like, why are you tying me down? What's going on? And, the sentiment coming from them, I don't remember anything verbal or anything like that, more of a telepathic, it's okay, just relax, you're fine. And that's when this other being entered the room. And that is the moment that the trauma started, was this being this being walking in the room. That's what started it. He would, for whatever reason, he scared the bejesus out of me. He was terrifying. He was very, very tall, very thin, very long arms and legs. He was wearing a jumpsuit of some sort, I remember, and he had a triangular shaped head. I don't have a lot of details of the face because I think I am so afraid of him even now that I can't quite get all the details. Like my mind will not let me go there. But what I do remember was things that were moving around his mouth, like mandibles perhaps, or, like you would think a bug having moving mouth parts. That's what I remember seeing at the bottom of his face.
Not cool at all. A triangle this way or this way? That way.
This way. Yeah.
With moving mandibles.
Yeah.
That's not right. Erin, that's not right.
No, I think that is what has scared me so bad.
I know. What color was he?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Honestly, I don't remember the color of this guy.
Fair enough.
I just remember his jumpsuit, and I believe, like, if I was to go back to the transcript, it was either blue or black, but I think it was black. I don't remember.
So what happened next?
What happened next is I freaked out and I started, trying to get out of my seat. And I remember him telling the others in the room, you need to calm her down or you're going to have to take her back. And that's when I had one of, the looming in the face and you need to settle down. And I was able to calm down. And he pulled out, he had this instrument about 1 foot long. It was very thin, looked silver metal type of thing, with 2 prongs on the end. Looked like a fork. And inside the prongs was a gelatinous, pink, blubbery, biological thing in it, and they inserted it into the roof of my mouth. I'm assuming at this point in time, thinking of all other contactees, this must have been an implant of some sort. Why it was biological, I don't know. Was it encasing something? Maybe. I don't know. Or did, nothing metal that I could tell. But yeah, they inserted it into the roof of my mouth. At that time, he put the instrument down, left the room. I was unstrapped. The female feeling being took me by the hand, took me to the window. I was able to look down on earth and thought it was very beautiful. And then I was returned to my bed. No recall of that until about, from the age of 7 till about 19, when I had some very strange memories coming back at that time, like floating down the hallway and just remembering bizarre things, and it didn't really make sense. After the hypnosis and Yvonne bringing me back to full consciousness and everything, and like, wow, this is crazy. How was this real? Did I make this up? And she said, Erin, I've heard that story 2 other times.
Yeah. Did you have conscious recall of the session when you woke up?
Most of it,
when you came out of it, not when you woke up, but when you came out of it.
I remembered most of it. There are like fine details that I still don't remember and have to read it to see exactly what exactly happened, because my mind's like, no, we're not going there, and like to put it away. But
can I say something?
Sure.
Okay. Looking at you, you're professional looking, right? Your demeanor, your the way that you carry yourself. You've got all this going on, and then you have this story. That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah. I mean, did you ever think the thoughts that I'm thinking right now? Like, man, have I just lost my marbles?
All the time.
Right.
all the time. And that's why it took me a long time to come to a point where I could tell others. But I knew I had to. I knew it was important. I think I'm just now starting to understand why it may be important. But this is not something that people really want to talk about.
No, not at all. You're driving away from that session. I can only imagine what's going through your mind, right? Your life is flipping upside down.
Yeah. And at the time that I went there, and I told her I want to go to this moment where trauma happened, I was already very well aware that I was a contactee. I had conscious recall, and I had known things that happened. And so I didn't go there blank, like, I don't understand. I think it may have happened. My purpose was, I want to know what scared me so bad so that I can heal it.
Yeah, well, Triangle Head takes it to a whole nother level. I mean, that I'm sure you didn't expect any of that. Now, that was, okay. Help me out with the timeline here. That was your first session with Yvonne?
Yes, and that would have been in about 2015.
Okay. During your second session, I want to jump ahead. We'll fill in the blanks later. You said that there was the event when you were 7, when the trauma started, right? So you figured that part out. You guys unboxed that.
Right.
Did the second session, was this when you were 10 years old?
Yes, the next time I went back to the age of 10. Now, after that first regression, I have had very few nights of not being able to sleep. That terror has really quite gone away. I think I can only remember one instance of being too afraid to sleep in the last couple of years, and that's because I think Bigfoot was outside my window. But totally different story, totally different atmosphere.
I think we're all going to be tonight. We're all going to be thinking about Triangle Head. So,
right
there you go. It's gonna follow me home too as well.
I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so fast forward to 2018, which was a really important year for me in the UFO field, just in my own experiences of it, because in 2018, that's when I met Terry Lovelace, and, he and I have become pretty good friends at this point, and being able to gained the power to write, because he pushed me, Erin, you need to write this all down. You need to write your book. And so I did. And if it hadn't been for him, I probably wouldn't have done that. And of course, I met him through Yvonne, because she wanted us both to be as professionals with these experiences, to do, I think it was a TV interview thing that we were doing with her at that time. But right before that, I was married, and my husband had gotten out of bed, and he had his cell phone, trying to light his way out of the room, and he accidentally got the light in my eyes, and I woke up, and boom, one of those flashes came, and I remembered being a little kid, and I remembered I remembered the moment, because my dad had taken me to a softball tournament. And I recognized where we were at. It was like the condo that we were staying at for that tournament. And this would have been in Durango, Colorado. And in that flash, there were little gray type aliens around me, and we were all excited. Like, all of us were feeling the excitement. And I just remembered, yes, it's coming, it's coming. And I told Yvonne, if this is exciting, I want to go here. I want to learn about this, because if I was terrified at 7, how come I was excited at 10? And maybe this was something fun that happened. And so she was able to take me back to that moment. And the interesting thing about that night is my father told me that I kept getting up. I would get out of my sleeping bag. I think I was sleeping in the dining room, because like the whole team was in this one condo. And I would get out of my sleeping bag, and I would go to the front door and try to get out. And Dad would tell me, Erin, where are you going? I'm like, oh, I just got to go. Like, do you need to go to the bathroom? No, I just need to go. And he'd put me back in bed, and I'd get up and go back to the door again. So I don't remember any of that, sleepwalking or whatever. But in the regression, I remember being outside with several children, these beings, and several adults, including my father, though he does not have any recall and has no recall of contact at all. But I saw my father in the crowd. And a ship came down from above, and I remember hearing the creaking and the scraping of the ship as it came down between the trees, because this is a forested area. This is, deep in the mountains in western Colorado. And I remember hearing branches break and things like that as it came and settled down to the ground. And then we kind of all funneled into the ship. We walked into the ship. I remember the same round hallways, and I was barefoot, and I remember the ground of, as I was walking inside the ship, feeling like AstroTurf. Black. It was black, but it felt like AstroTurf, kind of prickly. The odd details that you pick up.
Yeah, right. I'm right with you. I'm walking barefoot in the prickly black AstroTurf. Theater of the mind. Well done. Okay, what happens next?
Next, I am, as the people are walking down this hallway, I am led into another room. It was an exam room. Now, I'm 10 or 11 years old, and I am stripped and put into a bed, gurney type thing, whatever, and actually had my first pelvic exam ever, which makes sense now because, a few months later, puberty happens, and here I am as a woman. And I remember being extremely uncomfortable during this examination. I remember them putting this weird thing on my head, and I don't remember what it was. Somebody told me that it was like conical and had these electrodes and what, I don't know. But another experiencer has said, oh, that's how they attach you to the neural net, is what I was told. I don't know what it was. But after the exam and I was allowed to get dressed, I was taken into almost like an auditorium. Well, maybe not, maybe more a gymnasium, not an auditorium, but it was a very large space. The ceilings were very high, and there was like a honeycomb pattern in blue and red pipes all across the ceilings and the walls, and I could see the stars on the outside. There were several podiums in the room. With podiums all around the room, and there would be a being behind it. being behind the podium and a child in front of the podium, and we were being taught things. And I was taken to a podium. There was a very tall being who was white. It was like what I would call a tall white. I don't know what other people would describe as tall white beings, but a very chalky white colored skin. His head was almost football shaped, much more elongated. It's still, bulbous in the back, but more elongated. His eyes were much more round and closer together than what you see on like a typical gray drawing or picture. He looked very much like a very, very tall E.T. If you watch the movie E.T., that's very similar to what this guy looked like. And he actually taught me how to manipulate gravity. I don't know how. I really wish I could. That would make me way less. That would be fun. But he, and I would fly. I was able to fly through the room. And then I remember him getting really irritated, like, no, come on, come back down. It's time to stop playing because we're going to learn something else. And he was helping me learn about the different energy centers in the body, like the chakras, and I could feel them activate and vibrate. And it was at this point that Yvonne's like, okay, what happened next? And the vibration would just get bigger and bigger. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just feeling vibrating. I'm just vibrating. And she's like, well, what happens next? And I couldn't go any further. So we stopped at that point. So I don't know if I was blocking it, if it just wasn't time or what. I don't know. I just could not proceed any further in the regression itself.
We're very close to a break, and Kim just posted, you may have seen me glance over, in Twitter, which is going to be part of what we're going to talk about next. She said, any experiences that didn't require hypnosis?
Oh, yes. Many.
And I want you to think about that, because when we come back, I want to jump into that. And the other question that I have to follow up with what you just said, was the ship as big on the outside as what you were seeing on the inside? Did the two make sense, right?
No, they don't. Yeah, no, absolutely they don't. The size of that gymnasium area that I remember being in looked so much bigger than the ship itself.
And you have to ask, I've heard this so many times, right? How is that possible? Did you think about that?
No, I didn't. At the time, I never thought about that. But being a Doctor Who fan, it really makes a lot of sense if you think about the TARDIS ship that he uses. It's like a pocket universe. They say you go into it and there's this huge space. And so a lot of what I think are these experiences that we have are not necessarily interstellar, but interdimensional.
I was reading Michio Kaku's latest book. Been doing it all week. And that is one of the subjects that he talks about. Another physicist in the 70s wrote this theory about your bedroom, or a small room, but the bedroom is what he uses as an example, repeats on each wall. Okay? All right? In that, the universe is actually can be the size of your room. Now, and that's exactly what you're explaining to me right now, in that you don't know the theory and the paper that this physicist wrote. But if you could imagine for a second, you standing in the room and you reach out to your left, then on the other side of that wall is another you doing the same thing, and eventually is going to come back through the wall on the right, and you could reach out and touch yourself. If you did, you would touch yourself on the back. And that the universe is like that. Everything expands out beyond that. And that's what you're describing with the ship. It's fascinating to me. Fascinating subject. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, Erin Montgomery. Got lots more to talk about. I've warned everybody. We're going to try to get it all in tonight. Erin and I know we've got too much to cover. but we're going to get it all in. We'll be right back after this short break. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Erin Montgomery is here. More with Erin in just a second, but I need to talk to you about Virtual Shield VPN. Virtual Shield. You've got to have today, you need a VPN. Virtual Shield is the best. I talk about this studio. I talk about the gear. I talk about all of the computers that are in here. I just got an APC down there. Yeah, I need an APC. Going to get plugged into that. Everything runs on Virtual Shield. I'm in an undisclosed location. Nobody knows where I'm at. Nobody can find me. And you're not going to find me through my ISP. It's not going to happen. I have Virtual Shield on all of these computers. Drew runs Virtual Shield. There's no way to chase us down, and I want it that way. It is designed from the ground up. There is a strict no-log policy. That's it. There are no logs. There are encrypted servers all around the world that hide where you are at and encrypt all of your information. That is what you need to have today in today's world. People are spying on you and taking your information. Think about that. It's easy to do. Click on the link in the video description box below. It's right there, virtualshield.com. You can do that. You can go to virtualshield.com/fade to black. You can go over to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the banners. Do what you have to do, but get Virtual Shield VPN today. You click, you go, you will get Virtual Shield VPN for 50% off right now. Do it. Click on the link below. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Erin Montgomery. And Erin, right before the break, I wanted to say that this is what is interesting for me in this conversation tonight. You and I met a couple of months ago. It's been a couple of months now. And I think we had dinner and drinks. I was certainly buying drinks, right? Okay.
Yes, you were buying drinks.
I was buying drinks for everybody. And I was engaged with other conversations. We met, and you were sitting to my left for 2, 3, 4 hours, and we didn't get a chance to talk. And that's what's so great about this show tonight. And because we're talking for the first time, and I really enjoy that. The other part is, you're not on the show tonight because of that night. You're on because of another group of friends brought us together, and I was excited about the show. And then you shot me an email. Hey, church, doofus. We hung out last month. I was like, oh, that's right. And it was just so funny that I didn't make the connection. I didn't make it, and I made it instantly when you reminded me. But that was just hilarious. Threw me under the bus with an email. Yeah, that was great. Okay, so right before the break, Kim posted up in Twitter saying, asking, okay, regressions are great, but what about things that didn't have to be recalled? And I loved your reaction. You bursted out with laughter. So how does the contact happen? And we have the two, the age of 7 and the age of 10, and those 2 sessions with Yvonne. But what about how do I say this? Is real life contact. We'll go with that.
Right. Conscious recall. How's that?
Yeah, sure. You're the clinical therapist. I'm not.
I would call it conscious recall, but I don't necessarily know where I came up with that term. But yeah, there are many, many instances where I remember contact, and most of this happens in my bedroom while I'm in bed. I suspect contact happening outside of the home, like while driving and things like that, but I don't have enough details to pull it all together to say, yes, something happened to me on this date. But, in 2012, 2013, that first time I met Yvonne, that night, I had an event happen that kind of sparked me needing to see her in 2015. And it was my surprise that I did not go to that particular thing that happened to me on that night, and instead of went back to 7 years old. It surprised me. So what happened on that night is I woke up being maneuvered outside of my room, like I'm being taken through the wall under the window, and I was in some sort of strange like gurney, and it was like material, and it was wrapped up around my head kind of, and I felt really enclosed, and I remember thinking to myself, this is really odd, interesting. Here I go, and I felt a very familiar presence with me, and I do believe it's that same female that I've seen before, and just standing behind me as we're walking out. And then, things kind of go black. I don't remember anything else until I wake up with excruciating pain across my lower abdomen, and I tried to sit up because I'm hurting, and you just want to kind of cuddle in and hold yourself, but I couldn't because I was strapped down, and I was strapped down not on one of those plain surgical tables that you think of in a, if you're thinking ET UFO experiences, you're just on this clinical surgical completely sanitized area. No, it was like a cot, like a military cot or something like that. And it was, I just remember feeling gross. And just trying to get my bearings. I'm in an underground area. The walls are rock, like it's been blasted out or something, hollowed out. And I can see like filing cabinets along the wall, and just, I can't move. My head is not tied down, but I can't maneuver a lot. I see that there's other beds around me with women in them also, and I can hear yelling and crying, and that one female being is at my shoulder still, and I see down at my feet. I can't see my lower legs because there's like a surgical tent kind of over my belly. You know how they do that in a surgical situation, while they'll put a little tent up and kind of keep things sanitized. But at my feet, at the very end of the bed, there are two really tall gray, well, not really tall, but tall for a gray, let's say maybe between 4 and 5 feet tall, gray beings, and they are doing something. And you know, I have children. I know what labor feels like.
Wait. Pump the brakes.
Okay.
This feels like child. Were you in stirrups?
I don't remember stirrups, but my legs were, you know, in
that position,
so,
right?
In that position, I have had children. I know what labor feels like, and that is what this felt like. However, I was not pregnant that I was aware of.
So you're exposed, and there are two beings facing your exposed areas, and you see this going on. Is this a holy crap moment? I mean, are you freaking out?
I was freaking out, but I couldn't do anything about it. I was stuck to the bed. I could not get up. I was in so much pain. Just, you know, it felt like going, you know, having a contraction, and it hurt really bad. And I was confused. I was not pregnant. As far as I knew, I wasn't even sexually active. So there wasn't a way I could have been pregnant. So there was, you know, the fear, the pain, and the confusion all mixed in together. And then I see this being approaching me kind of from the left-hand side of my vision. And he was a human, or at least he appeared human, and he was in military garb. He was in fatigues, and he had on a white lab coat, and he was carrying a clipboard. He was an older man, maybe late 60s or mid 60s, something like that. White hair, buzz cut, walking around the room. And I tried to calling out to him, "Hey, get me out of here. What's going on? I'm scared." And he glanced at me and glanced away and kept on about his business. And I think that out of everything that I have experienced, this right here is the most horrific. And it's not necessarily the childbirth, which was awful. It's not necessarily the ETs, which is scary. It was that human or seeming human not caring. Not caring.
Now, okay. Not on a ship. You're on terra firma. You're somewhere on Earth. Right?
That was my understanding.
Probably pretty close to your home. Underground. And I'm just putting all the pieces together here. And then, you know, filing cabinets is an interesting thing to say, right? So that a military style cot or a cot, that is human. That's earthling stuff that you're saying. It wasn't a stainless steel sanitized examination table on a starship.
Right.
This is something else. This is a cot with material, with human things, and underground you see the rock walls, and then you see a human. So this is a very, very interesting situation. Also, I think you mentioned there were multiple cots and a lot of women in this room. Some were screaming.
Yeah.
Right?
They were experiencing the same kind of stuff I was, I believe.
Now, you mentioned childbirth, so let's go in this direction. It feels like that to me. I don't want to put words in your mouth or say anything offensive to the audience. There are children listening too as well. But this is a very, very intense situation that you find yourself in. You had a pain from your abdomen. There's something going on. Let's continue there. Was there a fetus involved? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this with my thoughts.
Yes, I do believe there is a fetus involved, but I cannot, at this point, I don't remember. I wrote about it. It's almost like I have to pull out my book and say, what did I remember at the time that I wrote? And that's the wonderful thing about these trauma memories. They fade in and out. But it was my understanding that a baby was removed at this time. And now this is not an isolated incident as far as fetuses and this is something that is hugely important in the contact realms, and I think that it needs to be talked about a lot more. But the fact that I was underground and it was scary and I hurt and there was a human involved, it puts it in a completely different realm than anything. Does. Yeah.
Now, okay, if there was a fetus involved, who's the father? Right. Let's back up. Let's back this up. Something happened a few months before, right?
There had to have been something that happened a few months before, but I was not seeing anybody at that time.
Right. And this is nothing that you remember.
Correct.
Okay. Did you... Okay. Let's do that. What happened after this?
That is about the end of the experience. I remember I just kind of went blank and back, out. And then when I woke up in the morning in my bed, I thought either I just had the scariest nightmare I've ever had in my entire life, or something just happened. And my eyes hurt. And they were burning, and I looked in the mirror and they were so swollen, like I had been crying and crying for hours. I had broken blood vessels, like little red spots all over the inside of my eyelids, up here where you put makeup on, down across the bottom of my eyes, over the bridge of my nose. And that happens to me when I cry and cry and cry, like an uncontrollable, awful sob session. That's what happens. My eyelids were puffy. My abdomen hurt, like I had, I was like cramping kind of feeling. And then I had the fingerprint bruises on the inside of my thighs. And so I was like, okay, that really happened. And it was at that point in time that I started losing sleep, was afraid to go to bed, wouldn't turn out the lights and all of that, which prompted my wanting to see Yvonne for that first time. A few years later, it built up. But yeah, so it was surprising. Like I said, it's very surprising to me that moment did not come up in the regressions. That original regression to say, take me to the beginning of the trauma, which I thought was that, but it wasn't. It happened when I was a kid. But yeah, that moment has never left me, and that horror that I have felt of a human not caring about what was going on really it just sticks with me and won't go away.
I want to ask you something personal. I'm sure this has come up before. Were you having, up to this moment, and of course after, but were you having your monthly women stuff?
I cannot remember if I was on... I think I was. I mean, there was a long stint that I was on birth control that stopped menses, so I don't know. But I don't believe at that time period I was on anything. So.
And then after?
And then after, it was fine. I don't remember any changes, whether I was... Yeah, I don't recall. I'd have to look at my medical records, which would be an important thing to do, I think.
Did this happen again?
I do not remember any other times being in the underground facility. Do I remember being or having children and children presented to me? Yes, many, many times.
How many?
I can think of like 6 or 7 different times that I've experienced that right now.
And how does that? I've talked to so many experiencers that have discussed this, where apparently, like, this is a cyclical thing. I mean, it's a non-ending. This is like twice a year, right?
Right. And it seems like I think I'm only remembering a part of it. I'm not remembering everything that happens, or, that's something in my head. Like maybe it's just a constant thing and I just don't know. But there are several times I remember, giving birth and then holding the child. And oftentimes they are so tiny, they just fit into the palm of your hand.
How many alien babies have you had?
Just space babies.
Yes. How many star children?
Like I said, around 6 or 7 times, or 6 or 7 children that I can remember, and like I have names for, which is wild. But I have a suspicion that there's many others. So.
You know how crazy this sounds. But
I do.
But I've talked to so many women that are having these experiences. The question I have to ask is everybody nuts? Am I equally as nuts for listening and accepting? Right? I've had my crazy experiences too. Well, I haven't had any alien babies yet. But the point is this. Either everybody's crazy or there is a human hybrid alien program going on that appears that the United States military is engaging in as well. And that's probably as scary as all of this as we start to put all of this together. But that is apparently what is going on.
Yeah, I am not the only person that has stories that are exactly like this. And I know people from the age of 77 all the way down, into their 20s that have experienced these things. And we just keep talking, and I think that it's important. And honestly, it feels like one of the things that I need to be talking about, as far as, media goes and getting this out there, maybe more normalizing it, even though it is so incredibly crazy.
The response to this, what has that been like? And we'll continue after the break, but what has the response been?
I have had nothing but positive experiences through this this coming out, of the star closet, for lack of any other terms. People telling me, oh my gosh, I've had experiences like that, or wow, this is a fascinating story. I'm really glad you are telling the truth. Even embracing me in the clinical realms, wanting me to do more work with them on these subjects. And so, I've had my share of trolls, but it very minimal in comparison to, I think, that a lot of others have. It has been a very positive.
Did you ever think that you were the only one, right? That this couldn't be going on in mass around the world. This is something that is unique to you.
I did not realize that there were anybody else that would have these kinds of experiences until I started going to the UFO festival and listening to the lectures and saying that, oh my gosh, there are so many people that are saying the same thing as me. And that really shifted my understanding of, how huge this really is.
What's the $1 million question? What's the purpose? What's the end game here?
I don't know. I don't know if any of us can know. I mean, there's several different beings already on this show that I've talked about seeing, and I'm sure that every single one of those, not only species but individuals, has their own agenda. I don't know. I know that the DNA is important for whatever reason. Why else would they follow family lines?
Right. Is it? I wanted to ask you about that. We've got a little bit of time. Let's circle back. Is it blood type?
maybe I don't have that O negative that everybody thinks
Right.
is so important, or that I think I'm O positive, so that's not it. As far as me personally, I don't exactly know what it is about these particular genetic lines, but I know that my family's not the only one. There's many other families that have the same amount of generations that I've talked to. So yeah.
The program, if it is going on, certainly didn't start in 1950. It didn't start in 2000. Didn't start in 2012. It's probably been going on for hundreds of thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, for a very long time. What do you think about those thoughts? This isn't a modern situation that we find ourselves in, and not only is it generational, but it could be going back millennia.
Right. And I think that I don't know if like humans are evolving to the point where they can comprehend what's going on, or if it's a collaboration with the beings to allow it to be seen and to be known. I would like to, I so wish I had information from ancestors besides my grandparents. I want to go further back, but I can't. Like, tell me some more. But I think that I lost my train of thought.
Going back millennia.
Yeah, I really think that that's exactly what's going on. And it makes you wonder, are they what created humans in the first place?
Well, look, I'm okay with saying we're all aliens, right? I mean, by this point, we came from somewhere. We were probably brought here on a meteorite. I am sure. So there's that part, that DNA is universal in the universe. But then there's the other part for me, which is hard science, and that is Homo sapiens sapien just appeared here 200,000 years ago. There isn't any evolutionary process before that. There's nothing in the archaeological record that would suggest this is where we came from. We just showed up 200,000 years ago. And you have to ask yourself, why? How did that happen? Was it alien intervention? Is it what is going on and continues to go on to this day?
I tend to think that myself, just from my own experiences and understanding that this is here and this is here to stay. And it's been here for a long time. And I think that there's like an interesting, and this kind of a little off topic, but there's a really interesting evolution on how abductions and how contact is happening is much less invasive. It's I think there's an evolution with these ETs on how they're interacting as well. I think that maybe agendas are unfolding now as we speak.
Yeah, I got this strange tweet the other day from a friend of mine that I've known for 35 years, outside of the UFO community, back in my rock and roll days. And she goes, Jimmy, and everybody on Twitter probably saw this tweet and the way that she tagged me, but she said, Jimmy, is E.T., it was the strangest question to come out of nowhere from an old friend, is E.T. evolving too? We're evolving, we're learning. Is E.T. different today than the old versions of E.T. that we used to hear about? They have to be evolving right along with us. And it was like this open-ended question. But it's exactly what you're saying right now. And it has to be that way. And my response to her, Erin, was, yes. Right? What? They're going backwards? No. Right? And it's fascinating to me, back to your point, is that our sources of contact and how it has happened, including myself, has changed. It's not the same as it was with the reports that we have 3, 4, 5 decades ago.
Right. If you think about the violence that was around Betty and Barney Hill's experience, her dress was ripped, his shoes were destroyed as he was dragged across the ground, and he suffered from medical problems later in life that were very much PTSD type of experiences. And then, more scary experiences like with Terry and with Terry Lovelace and the physical implants that he has that show up on X-rays. I don't think I have anything that would show up on an X-ray, but I do know that there's implants and things in my body that shouldn't be there, but it's not going to show up. Great, can't prove it, but it changes. The materials they use changes. Their means of contacting us has changed. They're no longer completely screening things off. They're introducing things in a way that keeps us calm. And it makes you wonder, why would you want to keep your subjects calm when, 40, 50 years ago, you didn't care?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Erin Montgomery. We're going to continue this conversation. Absolutely fascinating right after this short break on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal God on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard, available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Gold loves chaos, uncertainty, and disarray. History shows us what gold does when people aren't sure about the government, the stock market, their jobs, or their retirement savings. Our national debt is skyrocketing. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against inflation and a stock market that might take years to recover. So what can you do right now to protect yourself? Call United Gold Group. We offer gold and other precious metals delivered securely within 72 hours. Are you worried about the stock market? We can also help you set up a real gold or silver IRA or a 401k. Safe and secure. United Gold Group makes gold ownership affordable. Call now and get up to $2,500 in free gold or silver with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit UnitedGoldGroup.com.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Erin Montgomery is with us. I want to remind everybody, tomorrow night, Dr. Stephen Greer. And then Thursday night's Fader Night, open lines with a drive-by by Richard Bleepin Dolan. Let's get back to our conversation. Erin, I want to play devil's advocate for a second, and sort of devil's advocate, but there's another part to this that needs to be explored, and that is, do you think there is a possibility, which I think is equally as sinister as anything else with this, but that the government may be staging these events and to make sure that the event, the experience is real, and that the people that go through it are going to go and talk about it, and that it's staged?
Well, that is something that is important to pay attention to, especially if I have had experiences that felt very government or military-like, and it makes you wonder why. Why did I have to go through that? Did it really happen? Was it staged? And I have heard that before, like seeing grays that look like they're in costumes, like being able to see stitching around the eyes and things like that. That makes you wonder, what exactly does this mean? And I really don't know. I mean, it could be, but that is going to an awful lot of work for generation after generation of contact to be able to say, yeah, the government has been working so hard for 100 years to make sure that this person in particular will come out and talk.
Right, and there's another part of this that makes me think, and I've heard, and I'm sure you've heard the same things, where somebody has an extraordinary sighting. They see a craft. They report it. And the next thing you know, they're being abducted. They're taken out. There's another experience similar to yours that happens. And it's a way to discredit the real sighting that happened, right? And now this person is talking crazy talk, right? And it's a way to cover up something that was real.
I think that's the other side of it. I mean, does the government want us talking to make us scapegoats, or are they trying to hide something else? And I think that I don't know if we're ever going to know the truth, behind it. What is the agenda of the government? What is the agenda of the aliens? And how do we, who are caught in the middle of all this, how are we supposed to make sense of it?
Right. When was your last contact?
I've had a few things happen over the last couple of months, holding babies, that kind of thing. But
wait, well, you just can't stop and just say that.
I mean, this stuff happens all the time.
Yeah, no, I'm watching you. It's just like, well, okay. I mean, but no, we just can't blow past a statement like that.
Right.
What do you mean? A couple of months ago, you held a baby. What happened?
I was staying at my dad and stepmom's house while I was looking for a place to live here in Montrose. And so I was still there. So it's definitely been a couple of months. But I remember waking up and feeling I wasn't alone in the room. Felt that there were beings behind me. And I remember just kind of flippantly like, whatever, I don't want to deal with this right now, and going back to sleep. But then I also remember like baby being put into my arms and thinking, boy, the head is really floppy, and trying to, stabilize the child, in my arms as you would a newborn. And then thinking that was very bizarre what's going on. But that's all I have. It's just little bits and snippets. So did something happen? I really was awake, and I really did feel that there were beings in the room. So maybe if I felt that I was holding a baby later, that really is part of the experience, but it's hard to tell.
Now, were they doing this so you could bond with your child?
I think that happens a lot. I think that for whatever reason, it is extremely important for the human parents to bond with these hybrid children, and I hear it time after time, and I've experienced it myself, where I am brought back and introduced to these children at different stages, and I always know who it is. There's one little girl in particular. I remember her name is Nicolette, and I've I don't know if I named her. I don't know, but seeing her at different stages, I saw her as a newborn, and then as a toddler, and then later on at about 4 or 5. So, this happens, and then also some experiences I've had over the last few years is being taken on ship to help the children whose parents refuse to bond, and so I am asked to hold and play and cuddle and just do some loving motherly bonding with these hybrid newborns that are not mine.
Now, and these are conscious events.
These are conscious events, yeah.
This is incredible. Okay, help me understand here. Are these children then? Are they living on Earth?
Not as far as I can tell.
They're on the ships, right?
Yeah.
Could they? What do they look like? Could they pass for humans?
I think some of them can pass for humans. They just have unusually large eyes. Their heads are a little bit bigger, and their bodies are just a little bit thinner. And then some of them very much not human looking at all. So I think it depends on the child itself and perhaps the genetic makeup.
Where does the male side come from? Have you seen a triangle head hybrid?
No, I have not seen a triangle head hybrid.
You don't have any triangle head children.
Not that I have met. No.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Right. And really it makes me wonder, because there was a particular experience that I had again in 2018. So much happened to me in 2018 as far as my comprehension and understanding of the phenomenon that's happening around me. I was in bed. I was married at the time. We were newlyweds. I think it was just a few months that we had been married. And I was dreaming I was in a haunted house, which isn't necessarily uncommon for me, but I woke up as the covers were yanked off of me. And I thought it woke me up, especially because the covers were ripped away from my husband, not towards my husband. He was a blanket hog, so it wasn't him. It was something else. And I woke up, and there were several beings in the room. Oh, you know what? I'm mixing things up. So this was one experience that happened, and I think it was just a couple nights later that I had this experience with my husband in the bed. But there's 3 beings in the room. Since I started the story, I might as well finish it. The tall white being that I remembered as a child behind the podium was there, a gray looking alien, and then this very bizarre drippy. It looked like a candle that was melting. It was a dark brown color being. I've never seen anything like this. I've heard that somebody has described him in some book, but I've never been able to find any description of this type of being anywhere. And one of the most amazing thing about that particular experience is recognizing the tall white and saying, "Oh, it's you." And he's like, "Well, yeah." He kind of just nodded his head at me and reached out his hand, and I took it and left willingly. And then I was taken on the ship, and I found myself in a very large, like almost like a theater. There was a stage and tiers and rows of humans just in these balconies, chatting and recognizing each other. And I remember just the massive amount of people and all of the ages and all of the races and all different attire, daytime, sleep time, it didn't matter. And that's about all I remember from that experience. But huge number of humans in the room, like hundreds of people gathered into this room for whatever reason. But back to the experience with the hybrid child, I remember having what appeared to be a dream and being alone in a ship type place and crawling into a big tub. It's like a big stainless steel tub. And I'm like, I know what this is for. And I gave birth to a boy, a baby boy, all by myself, it seemed, in this tub. And it was, he felt really large, like a really big baby. And I named him Wesley Bertrand. Not a name I would ever choose for a child, ever. I don't know. But, and then I remember waking up and reaching my hand over to wake my husband up. And I felt like there was something cold on the bed, and I reached it, and it was a business card, right? And I had started years before an experiencer support group. It never went anywhere. I think there was like 7 or 8 of us, and we occasionally will talk on Facebook. But it was one of my business cards from that, and I thought, what the heck? Oh, you jerks, like, thanks, you left a calling card to tell me this was not just a dream. At which, as I'm cussing, I wake my husband up, and he's like, oh my God, I just had this crazy dream that I was on ship. I was taken to a big tube of liquid, and inside it was a child, and I was told that was my son. And
he said this
as I wake up from this dream, quote unquote dream, with the experiencer support group in between us. And I was like, son of a gun, how could we both have that on the same night? And it was a boy. I mean, it was a boy in both instances. So it just makes you wonder, okay, so if it's my DNA and his DNA, what the heck is happening? However, one thing I do know is his family has generations of contact. We can suspect his mother, but we don't know for sure. But himself, his sister, and his sister's children have all had contact. So that's 2 generations. And so I can, maybe shouldn't, but can possibly assume going back,
That's incredible. Did he continue to have these dreams or these experiences?
He really shut down and didn't like to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. And if I would have an experience and say, hey, you were involved, he would negate it like, no, nothing happened. You're just crazy. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Do not negate my experiences just because you don't want to face it. And so, I mean, that's, I think, very typical. I mean, all of us who are having these experiences are in a much different place along the process of understanding and accepting and being okay with things. I'm definitely much further along than he is or was. I haven't talked to him in many months, but yeah.
Now, you have told us about the female type gray, the tall white, the gentleman behind the podium, right? Are they, how do I say this? Are they from the same star system? Is this the same group? They're on the same ship? And they're constantly visiting, planet Earth for decades. Are they going back to their planet?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know where they're from. I don't know who they're affiliated with. Oftentimes there are mixes of types of beings. I mean, that when I was 7, it was those gray types with, Mr. Triangle Head. Then there's, there were gray types with the tall white. And then that one night in my bedroom, there's the tall white, the gray type, and the drippy weird guy that I don't understand. So I don't know. Are they working together? Or are they just different versions of them? Different. I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Have you been able to ask questions?
Very rarely am I able to ask questions. And I think when I'm in the middle of an experience, the questions don't even come to mind. And so, doing radio shows and podcasts and things, I've been told, keep a notebook by your bed, pick it up, remember. But I'm not necessarily sure I'm ever in a state of mind when I can say, oh, hold on, let me get this real quick. Can we just let's have a little bit of an interview here. I don't think I've ever been in that state of mind when I can do that.
I mean, the if you get another opportunity, okay, here's the Jimmy Church list, right? Which is, I mean, first off, how far do you travel to get here? I don't know if you can ask about a star system because they wouldn't necessarily be able to relate to our distances of times and names of things because we have a different language here. But,
right.
How far are they traveling? How long do they travel? Are they traveling at the speed of light? How are they getting here? That's
right.
like one of the first questions I would try and ask. And the other one is, what is it that you guys are doing? What is it? What's the purpose of you visiting and having children with us? What's the reason for that?
Right. That is definitely like number one, a priority. What is going on? Why are you messing with us? What's the purpose here? What's your purpose here? The only thing I've been able to figure out, and this is just, plain deducing, taking the information I have from many different experiencers, coming from what their messages are upon returning and coming to terms with things is like, okay, so what I know is they're telling me this, and there's several different themes that have come out of what experiencers have to tell the world. Number one, take care of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. Like there's natural disasters going to happen. There's going to be nuclear war. We've got to be careful and protect the planet. The next is, love thy neighbor, basically. No more wars. You've got to be kind to each other. You've got to work together. And those are the themes that really come out of contact when you boil it all down. And my thought is, if those are the main messages that are coming out, take care of the planet, take care of each other, don't wage war, especially in a nuclear type fashion. How is this bad?
Yeah, we'll talk more about this after the break because I find that very, very interesting. And it's a subject that needs to be discussed more and more. But I wanted to ask you this. It appears if these aliens are walking Earth, like in your bedroom, they can breathe oxygen. When you were on the ship, you could breathe, right? Mm-hmm. And so could everybody else. So apparently they must be a carbon-based life form that breathes oxygen and nitrogen like we do here, and that must be the same on their home world. Have you thought about that they are able to breathe and walk among us?
It definitely makes you wonder. And then I've had a lot of speculation. Are they in suits? Are they wearing a full body suit and we just can't tell? A lot of my thoughts when it comes to these things is I don't necessarily think it's interplanetary. I really don't. I think it's interdimensional, which negates time and space.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I definitely don't understand the content of the air unless they just don't even need to breathe. Who knows?
Well, did the air feel weird to you? Did you have difficulty breathing?
I do not remember having any difficulty breathing in any of these experiences.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Now, really quick before we get to the break, I want to go back to this military dude. Was that the only time that you saw what appeared to be, right?
Right.
A military officer? Was that one time? Not on any of the ships?
I do not remember seeing any military beings or humans on ship. The only other humans I see on ship appear to be other contactees or experiencers.
The human, the military guy that you saw, did he speak?
No.
But he heard you.
He heard me, glanced at me, and then quickly glanced away.
Right. Did you see him speaking to anybody else?
Not that I recall. No.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if he was indeed human. The fatigues with a coat over the top of it is a very interesting description, but he could have been a facsimile, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. It could have been some sort of screaming image. You never know.
Was there any? I want to get this last question in before the break because we're going to change gears when we come back. Was there any education processes? Like with the children, were you shown anything? Were the children being taught things, historical records or the future or anything like that?
Yeah, I still am taught things, and what I'm taught about a lot is very much on the level of quantum physics, which I have, no scientific knowledge about, but quantum
like
entanglement.
What?
Like quantum entanglement. How can I speak to another contactee without being anywhere near them, but be able to get the message to them? Telepathy. That kind of thing. And then how souls work and the interdimensionality of different selves. So when you were talking about the room and yourself being there and being able to reach out and touch yourself in many different ways, that is something that they've actually shown me and taught me in my mind. Can't quite understand all of it, but that topic right there could be a whole show in and of itself.
Fascinating. How do you, when you say interdimensional, is that how, I'm assuming that you're theorizing on this, it's a hypothetical, but is this how they span these great distances? They're not necessarily traveling in a linear sense. They're appearing, disappearing, and reappearing where they need to be.
Exactly. So when you ask those particular questions, there was two that you asked. I can't remember each one of them, but one of them was how do they travel from here to there or there to here, and how fast, and is it the speed of light? The answer came into my head was it's irrelevant. That's what I heard in my head when you had asked that. It's irrelevant. Doesn't matter. Are
you saying that's a memory that's telling you it's irrelevant, or somebody speaking to you right now saying it's irrelevant?
Which makes me sound even crazier, doesn't it? Yeah,
man,
no,
you're
it was
bonkers.
Just words in my head.
You're just straight bonkers. You're just straight. That's
I know, and it's okay.
But it is okay. It has to be that way, though, Erin. And let me explain why with the 60 seconds that we have before the break. If you're out there somewhere in the universe and you are 100,000 light years from your home planet, you're not sending out a radio call checking in. It would take 100,000 years for that signal to get to you. No, that's not how it's done. It's got to be done now. And it has to be done with some form of entanglement. It has to. If you and I go 4.5 light years away to Proxima Centauri on a spaceship and we blow a tire and we need to let, a 911 call break off to Earth, they're not going to get it for 4.5 years. That doesn't do us any good, right?
Right.
It would be 4.5 years after that. It would be 9 years before we got 911, what's your emergency, right? It doesn't work that way. It can't. There has to be something that is in the time of now, and that's entanglement. So I'm okay with that. So keep doing what you're doing. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest, Erin Montgomery. This is Overtime coming up next. And you know what we do when we get to overtime? We start to have a little fun. So we're going to do that next. And I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at jimmychurchradio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. My guitar just had a baby. This is it's a baby guitar. It's having some fun. It's overtime. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Erin Montgomery. And now, Erin, we've got a bunch of stuff I want to talk about really quick. But one question just popped up in Twitter. I'm right with this. How do we accept a message of love and light and unicorns from E.T. who are here abducting humans and having their way and babies? Right? That's a conflicting situation here. They may not be here blowing us up and shooting us with lasers, but the love and light and then abductions kind of rub against each other.
They definitely do. I'm not saying this is easy by any means. And oftentimes I can categorize my experiences in several different ways. I have ones that are very loving and kind. Those kinds of experiences where I'm being taught things are very different than, say when I was 7 and I was scared. But it wasn't necessarily bad. Yeah, I was being chipped or whatever, but their intention was not to scare me or hurt me. And then I had the awful thing that happened in the underground, and that was just horrible and different and yucky. But I think that a lot of the confusion and the dichotomy comes from is coming from a fear base, and we cannot clearly communicate with these beings until we get to a state of complete calm, so that we can say, hey, you know, what's going on, why are you here? And until we can reach that kind of state, we're not going to ever really know. And I think that even though I try to get there, I'm certainly not there yet.
Yeah,
because I don't have it all.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I hear you. And my normal response to somebody that has that kind of question, which is legitimate, fair enough.
Absolutely.
But look what we do. We go into a jungle, find a species that we've just discovered, grab it, take it away from their family, throw it in a box, bring it back, and dissect it. Right? It's like, where's the compassion there? Where's the moral standards there? Well, and we just assume that's it's part of science. It's what we've got to do. We've got to evolve. We got to, well, wait a minute here. So with E.T. doing these kinds of things, I don't think they're that extreme when we consider what we do every single day on this planet to species and animals.
Right. And I think that, if we go back to the idea of the evolution of how contact has happened from the violence, and the scary, really awful things that happened back in the 50s and 60s. And then you start to hear things like screen images. There have been times when I have seen things that were not, scary ETs. There's just one very silly time that I woke up and it was the Golden Girls at the end of my bed. And I was able to laugh at it because I knew that's what they weren't. The Golden Girls were not at the end of my bed. I knew it was ETs. But
now, Betty White is an alien. Okay, let's just stop right there. We can all agree. The Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was an image, at least from my understanding, is an image that they knew would not frighten me.
Right. Of course.
As they were waking me up, and I just thought it was silly, and I did not get afraid. And of course, I don't remember anything after that. I just oh my gosh, really, guys? And then I kind of faded out. But they're doing things to help preserve our minds in whatever way they can, and that seems to be my understanding of things at this point. Is they don't want to hurt us. At least these experiences that I'm having with these entities at this time, even if babies are involved, I am not afraid. I am not hurt. And and I come out with information on quantum physics that there's no way I could really understand, and I can't even articulate it really because I don't have that the scientific backing for it to make sense. But it's there,
right?
But then in comparison to the experience I had underground with the excruciating pain and the fear and the no comfort.
Right.
So, I mean, there's something happening here where they're trying. And that's what I'm seeing is that they're trying to keep us safe. They're trying to keep us calm, and they're doing it in whatever fashion that they think is working. And I think that is their evolution. As you can see how things have changed over the decades in their approach to us and how they do their best to not hurt us, hurt our minds, in especially.
Yeah, dude with the clipboard could have said, "It'll be over in a minute. It's okay. You'll be fine." Then walk away, right? But at least tell me something, right? Okay. Now, what is going on? What is going on? What's going on today? We have our government talking to us about UFOs, apparently. We've got the Navy apparently shooting videos and releasing videos. We've got the Senate talking about it. We've got the UAP task force report that's coming out. I'm waiting for Biden's statement on UFOs. That's is probably going to come pretty soon. We have all these experiencers coming forward like never before. We have sightings today that we've never had. Right now, this is UFO mania. What's going on?
I'm not exactly sure where everything is going, but I do know that in 2018 there was a huge push. This is where several people were already publishing. This is when I decided I needed to publish, and all of a sudden it's like in our heads we have to talk, and it's like a compulsion as far as being an experiencer, and it really has gone out. And even after the book is published and after I start doing shows, it's just I have to talk more, I have to say more, I have to connect with as many people as possible, and it can get overwhelming. But I know that I am not the only one that is feeling this. Several of us experiencers are feeling the same way, and I think it's very interesting that the government seems to be pushing at the same time. It also makes me nervous.
Well, yeah, I mean, and the question is why. And
why? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think you have a pretty good idea. But we've talked about physics and science a couple of times tonight. It's not just the government, it's not just experiencers, but it's astrophysicists and astronomers and physicists and exoplanets and fast radio bursts and the search for alien life and everything that is going on daily in the science community, the multiverse, parallel world. It's crazy talk coming from the science community right now. But we are being bombarded on every front about aliens. And then you have the mass media jumping in with this as well, all at the same time. It seems to me that somebody knows something somewhere that it's about to jump off, and they're getting planet Earth acclimated to this idea. We just had People of Earth, one of the greatest TV series ever in the history of everything. That's part of it too, in my eyes.
I think so, and I have been actually kind of tracking that over the last few years. So many movies are coming out and have come out. I remember watching a commercial the other day that had nothing to do with, I think it was like a Target ad or something, and it was little kids getting ready for school, and there's a freaking alien in the classroom. I'm like, look at that. I mean, how else are you going to make people okay with what's about to happen but to show things like this? The movie Arrival that came out in I don't remember what year it was.
3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah, to me, I felt that was very purposely done. I remember going to the theater and my husband at the time saying, "Oh, this is just going to be a shoot 'em up movie." And I looked at the date of the release date, and it was 11/11, which in a spiritual realm, that's a very significant message, meaning now is the time. And so if you've got a movie being released on the day that now is the time, and it's about the arrival of alien beings and how to learn to communicate in a different fashion, which interestingly enough is outside of time, which puts you into that quantum realm. It just, I mean, there's hints and messages everywhere, and you can either listen to them and gather them up, or you can say it's all just coincidence and ridiculous.
I remember watching Arrival in the theaters, and I left, and all I could I was a bit traumatized actually with it. I was like, that was made for a reason. That's not just some film that just got made. That has got a lot of information in it. There's a lot of things going down there. And yes. I've watched it probably 50 times. I watch it all the time. And there is something about that movie that was deliberate. I don't think that's
Absolutely.
I don't think it was just some Hollywood production and a great team of writers. There was too much going on. It wasn't a science fiction movie. It wasn't. It was like a documentary.
Right. It's actually based on a short story by a guy named Ted Chiang, Chiang. This is the story of me or something. I don't remember the title. I'll have to look it up. But I read it. I read the story after seeing the movie, and it just impacted me all that much more. As I was watching the film and understanding there really is a political stint in there, how we all have to communicate together and we have to work together to be able to communicate with this alien species, who has a completely different understanding of time. Like there is no time. They think in whole concepts, not in any linear fashion, which really is quite the information that I received from the ETs now, is everything's out of time. There is no then and now, it's all now. But yeah, reading that book just made it so much more clear. And so I definitely recommend reading that short story as well.
Do you feel that these are the days of disclosure, which I've been saying days of disclosure now for 4 years, but it feels different to me. Do you think that we're in those days? Do you think that something is imminent with the Senate and this report?
I think that we very much are in the days of disclosure, and I think that a lot of it's coming from more fronts than just the government, as people are assuming that it would come from. Like the government's going to have a big press conference, they're going to come forward and they're going to say something. I'm not necessarily sure it's going to happen that way, but what it is going to come through media normalizing. It's going to come from all of us experiencers coming out and saying, no, this really is happening. And yeah, I may sound crazy, but I'm pretty sure I'm not, and many of us doing that at the same time. And then you've got that scientific front that's coming in from the other direction. It's almost like a perfect storm. Disclosure is much, much more complicated and complex than just the press conference.
Do you think Earth is ready for this information? I mean, is it going to be a total panic meltdown? If we go back to December of 2017 with the infamous New York Times article and how the media treated it, the Earth handled it pretty well, right? Nothing melted down. Do you think that we're ready?
Well, that didn't phase us, that's for sure. But then if fast forward to the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, and faced with the pandemic, and it was just all chaos, and we're still coming to terms with that. If disclosure comes and we run out of toilet paper again, I'm not going to be a very happy camper.
No.
But I don't know. It's almost. I don't know if we're ready, and I certainly hope so. And I think that all of this that's happening right now, all the disclosure talk and all the different fronts that it's coming from, hopefully is helping to prepare, general public for, this is going to go down.
Do you think that the, with contactees like yourself and a possible hybridization program ongoing on this planet, that is something that the government is going to have to answer for? Is that something that will be spoken about? I mean, that's a difficult.
I certainly hope so. If I have had these two much different experiences, where I'm on ship and there's babies involved, is a very loving and kind environment. But then there's that thing that happened in the underground bunker. And so why did that have to be so bad? And what did you do with that child? And did you know that perhaps I was carrying one of these and you took it? And if so, what are you doing with all those children that you're taking? What program have they been put into? Super soldiers, or, all sorts of different ideas of what could be done with these fetuses that are taken.
Well, because, and I'll tell you, there's always a but, right? It's one thing for ET to show up here and have the big reveal and a press conference and welcome our space brothers. Okay, but if the government then has to say, well, we've known about this for a long time, and this is what has been going on, and the other secrecies that are there and buried, that's a whole nother thing for the government to deal with.
Right. And I really don't know how they're going to approach that kind of thing. There's the potential meeting with Eisenhower, I think at Holloman Air Force Base back in the 50s. So what happened there? And I've heard, theories that perhaps in exchange for technology, they were gained access to humans for experimentation. Is that what's going on? I don't know. Is it going to come to the surface? And I certainly hope it does, but I don't know, I don't know how that's going to impact the government itself.
A hybridization program is one thing. People would probably get pretty upset that was going on and the government knew about it and kept that secret. Okay. But if it's revealed that the governments of the world had knowledge of free energy and that technology that could have fed the planet, farming, heated homes, electricity, cars, and that knowledge was held from us, there's going to be a lot of pissed off people. That's a situation that they would have to deal with. And I'm not so sure how this gets handled and gets dealt with. I have no idea.
I'm not sure. And it's actually produces quite a bit of anxiety in my mind to think, how are they going to handle it? How are they going to handle the chaos that ensues from their lack of, planning, for one thing, but just that let's keep everybody in the dark for so long and just exploit and use and take and gain money, and when we didn't have to have any of those things.
No, didn't have to have any of them. And now there's another way to look at this. You underground and what appears to be a U.S. military doctor there with the clipboard. Is he part of the program? And, he's of the Pentagon. The Pentagon is aware of this. This isn't the only underground facility. There must be dozens or hundreds. Or is that guy a lone rogue agent just working with the aliens? And it's not a government program. And the aliens have their own bases and they've been doing their own thing here for a long time. And they just recruited him to come in and assist.
Well, that very well could be. I mean, if I am taken on ship to help babies that are not my own, who's to say other humans are not taken for different jobs, which, monitoring women who are being harvested, for lack of better terms, why not?
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Harvested. That's, man. And I mean, how dark. Tonight we harvest the more children. Here we go. Harvested. Oh, man. Okay. What a wonderful conversation tonight. You have a podcast that you do with Terry Lovelace. How often do you guys get that out on the air?
We are releasing one episode every 2 weeks on a Thursday.
And how do you handle that? Is it based on one subject? Is it the hybrid program? What do you guys talk about?
At this point, we're just having a guest. And so whatever the guest is bringing to the table, and we cover all sorts of topics from, just psychic abilities to near-death experiences, ET contact, and then one of our most recent guests was and that one hasn't been released yet. I guess it'll be next Thursday. We'll come out, and it's about being a walk-in. What does it mean to be a walk-in?
That's another fascinating subject. Oh, I wanted to ask you. I don't know how we got blew past this. What do you mean Bigfoot?
Well, I don't know. Over the last few months, starting this crazy Thanksgiving that I had with my dad here in Colorado before I moved, I actually had a dream that I was introduced to a Bigfoot male. He gave me his name, and then he introduced me to his daughter. And ever since, I've had these very strange experiences. And there was one night I got this, and I was back in Roswell, and I got this really creepy feeling, and I heard a whistle outside my window, and my house butted up against a field. There's nothing behind my house, and I hear a whistle outside my window. A rock or something hit it, and then I heard a big scrape against the side of the house, and I'm like, oh, okay, Bigfoot. right outside. I'm freaking out, and I did not sleep that night. But, I don't know. I could have been just making that up.
Footprints? Did you go outside? Did you check it out?
I was too scared. No, I never went out there to look for prints. I wasn't even thinking along those lines. Oh, my goodness. I should have.
Well, I feel so many do. There are some that don't. Okay, we don't need to. That Bigfoot may be connected, may also be interdimensional, that there may be a UFO connection. ET lands, stairs come down, it's Bigfoot that steps off. It's been us all along. The sightings that happen, not every one, but so many, there's a sighting, and then there's a Bigfoot sighting at the same time. Two different groups of people, right? It's right. And I think there's a strong possibility that Bigfoot may be interdimensional. I've had a few guests on the show that have talked about this, and I find that part fascinating. And the only thing, Erin, for me, this is just me, everybody, but no bodies, no DNA, no this, no that, nothing. Well, the only thing that fixes that conundrum is interdimensional, right? And I'm okay with that. I'd rather go interdimensional on Bigfoot than it's a species, just a normal species, walking the earth that we've just never been able to locate, and they avoid humans. Okay, all right. Well, I mean, that works too, sort of. But come on. Hasn't been hit by a car yet. A tour bus full of people driving to Vegas have not, on the way to Reno. What is Bigfoot that clever? Is that possible? Or just interdimensional? And that kind of fixes things for me.
I think interdimensional is something that we really need to be paying attention to right now.
I know interdimensional people. No, I'm kidding. Erin, thank you so much. Your website is erinmontgomery.net. How can everybody else reach out to you? And I know that you do a lot of support as well. You're a clinical therapist, and we need you. Right. We need you in this community. How can people reach out to you?
Absolutely. You can find me on Facebook. I've got two different, you can go through the Dirty Little Secret Facebook page. Be careful with that. There's a couple of other dirty little secrets out there. You'll see my picture and know that is me. Send me a message through there. You can go through my website. You can reach me through that. There's a place to leave a message. I also have, the Facebook page related to the website is Erin Montgomery Multidimensional Messenger. So another message can be left that way. I also do emails. You can do montgomery.erin@outlook.com. That works as well.
Have a great night. Thank you so much. And give my best to Terry. Tell him I said yo. And and also Eric. Tell him thank you so much.
I will.
Have a great night, Erin. What a great conversation.
Thank you.
Absolutely incredible.
The Facebook page related to the web.
That's me. I apologize, everybody. Let me do this and do that. Okay, I can do that. This is Fade to Black. I've got to get out of here. We just went poll to poll. Erin Montgomery. Her links are over at jimmychurchradio.com, erinmontgomery.net. And I've got another link up on the website for her books page. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarion. The show is produced by Hill J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, right here, Dr. Stephen Greer. I want to thank Erin Montgomery. Until tomorrow night, I want everybody to be safe. It's time to fade to black.